Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Good morning, J for Justice crew. Good morning, YouTube. Good to see you guys. Sorry for keeping you waiting this morning, but I do have a couple unboxings to do. I got some gifts, but there's no names to them. So if you are here and you are responsible for these wonderful gifts, please make yourself known. First of all, I want to thank whoever got me my rock candies. These were from the Amazon wish list, so thank you for the rock candies. One of my favorite candies in the world. Pure sugar. Just what we need, right? Now, this one has a name. I take that back. That one didn't have a name, so if you got me the right rock candy, thank you. This one is too funny. So the gift receipt says, "Thank you for taking us down into rabbit holes, but always making sure I climb back out before you sign out. From Charnel, Sweet Surrender." Sweet Surrender, I don't know if you're here or not, but thank you so much. We always got to hop out of those rabbit holes, don't we? And look what she got. She got the doggies. Bella has skin problems, so I have to put salmon oil in her food, and she got her the salmon oil. That's what we get for jumping out of rabbit holes. Thank you so much, guys. And the rock candy is almost gone already. Yikes. I better make a dentist appointment. Well, thank you so much. That's a pleasant surprise. You know, whenever Amazon pulls up, I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't order anything. So it's so generous of you. And the doggies, thank you. As you can see, they are joining us this morning. Up at the top, we have Summer Lou, a.k.a. Summer Rue, and Bella. They're being friends today. So I don't know how long they'll stay up there, but they're there for now. So good morning to my moderators, Angie B. and Mike Sanner. I see Potato was here earlier. I don't know if she's still here, but if you're listening, Potato, hello. And happy June 14th. It is Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. And you are listening to J is for Justice. Live on the radio. I wish I was live on the radio. If anybody's looking for an on-air personality, I would love to take the job. I don't have any experience, but I'd love to take the job. I think I'd do better if people didn't have to look at me. How about that? Cash me outside. How about that?
You know what I have to say to Ann C. Taylor?
Bring it on, woman.
Bring it on, woman.
All right. We are going to be talking today about Dylan Mortensen and why she could have waited. Hello, Auntie Cheryl. And why she could have waited 8 hours to get help, right? Now, I don't come from the generation of school shootings. We didn't worry about school shootings when I was younger. We didn't have that. Like, the worst thing that we had to worry about in school, and I tell my kids this, and they're like, oh my God, was like a fire alarm being pulled. And if it was, or a bomb threat, but if it was always a hoax. It was always like, oh, someone pulled the thing because they wanted to get us out of school early or something. Or so we could just go outside for a little bit and get out of class. It was always a stupid reason. But that was the most that I had to personally worry about when I was in high school. And I didn't even worry about it. So I don't come from the generation where we went through drills for active shooters. I don't come from that. So my kids don't even come from that. They really don't. I mean, we did the tornado drills. We did where you put the book over your head, shit like that. Okay. So, we're going to play a little bit from a couple universities. So I took some content from Wayne State University in Michigan, Denver, University of Denver. I mean, this is a homeland security project. Okay. So this program is to all the kids in schools and in colleges. They all get this same training. So before we pass judgment on anything, let's take a look at one reason why she would have maybe waited. And as we go through this, I'm actually going to play it in its entirety first, and then we will go through it and talk about it. Let's go over to our video player. All right. My family has 5 teachers in it, and they have pew pew drills. Unbelievable. They have to. Thanks, Mike. All right. Oh, and before we begin, got to pay the bills, right? Got to pay the bills. If you would like to join my Patreon, the link will be in the chat. And also, I will be going live over in the Patreon when this live is done to talk to you guys a little bit more and, just go a little deeper. So with that being said, let's get our video up and we will play it through and then we will talk about it. So it's not that long of a video. I actually put a preview in Patreon and some of you guys have watched it. And some of you agree, some of you disagree. But if you are in Patreon, make yourself known over there and chime in. That's what it's all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about.
Why are people such idiots?
All right. Here we go. Welcome to my presentation. Welcome to the chat, guys. We are going to be talking about a possible reason that Dylan Mortensen did not seek help right away. With an open mind, let's watch.
One big question that's come out of the University of Idaho student murders case is this gap in time that's missing from the moment a roommate saw the suspected killer to the moment 911 was actually called. Investigators now say a roommate on the first floor of the house heard concerning noises after 4 a.m. and eventually heard crying. That's when she opened a bedroom door again to investigate. She told police she was in a frozen shock phase by what she saw. She says a masked man in black with bushy eyebrows was walking toward her in the house. That's when she said she went back into her bedroom and locked the door. But
don't leave. Even if you don't hear any activity, you could be walking right into a danger zone.
But it wasn't until noon the next day, a full 8 hours later, that this roommate says she called friends over to the house to report a roommate was unconscious and not waking up. That's when 911 was called.
Don't leave.
If you can't get out safely, you need to find a place to hide.
Frozen shock phase by what she saw.
Act quickly and quietly. Try to secure your hiding place the best you can.
In some situations, running from the scene isn't the best option and could be dangerous. When that's the case, find a safe place and hide.
Initial alert, what was the conclusion you had at that point about the level of risk?
Well, of course, your first, on the first vandal alert, it was high risk. We had really no information, and we asked our students to shelter in place, and until we got the all clear, from.
Find a safe place and hide.
What the? Did you just get this?
Try to identify where the threat is taking place.
Frozen shock phase.
Turn out lights, and if possible, remember to lock doors. Silence your ringer and vibration mode on your cell phone. And if you can't find a safe room or closet, try to conceal yourself behind large objects that may protect you. Do your best to remain quiet and calm.
well, wasn't at all clear, but a reduced risk where we could where students could start to move around more freely.
Oh my God! There's someone out there with a gun.
A frozen shock phase.
As quickly as possible, block entry points to the area where you're hiding. Lock or secure the doors as best you can. Make the room you're in appear to be unoccupied. Turn off the lights. Silence your phone. Then remain calm. Stay still and keep quiet. Remember to stay in your secure area until law enforcement arrives.
Hey, get down. We haven't got the all clear yet.
A full 8 hours later,
We call this sheltering in place.
We asked our students to shelter in place.
When you can't run and you can't hide, when you're left with no other options, only then do you fight.
And until we got the all clear, from, well, it wasn't an all clear, but a reduced risk where we could where students could start to move around more freely. We had people sheltering in places like the library and the Pittman Center and places around campus, and we didn't want to keep them there all night if we didn't have to, and so as soon as Moscow Police Department determined that it was safe for them to begin moving around but be vigilant, we sent the other vandal alerts.
So that vandal alert, we had a group of students walking back to Greek Row from a location off campus. They encountered an individual who was not affiliated with the university. They got into, from my understanding, a verbal altercation, and he ended up flashing a knife at them. It was not a stabbing. It was not a stabbing attack. It was a threat, to the best that we know. We sent out a vandal alert warning the individuals of our campus community at that time. I don't have the specific date, but it's out there from that aspect of it. And it's my understanding that individual then later turned himself into law enforcement, and they've addressed what that happens.
I'm just curious about the law. I don't mean to.
Oh no, yeah, I can find it for you. Yeah.
So I can't answer the question of whether he's connected with this or not.
So we want to thank you again for coming. That's going to be all the questions we take at this time. We
it wasn't
appreciate
until noon the next day, a full 8 hours later, that this roommate says she called friends over to the house to report a roommate was unconscious and not waking up. That's when 911 was called. But Kaylee Gonzalez's father met this roommate and is certain she has nothing to do with it.
I think it's another victim of this crime. I mean, this is a girl that's wasn't prepared to see what she's seen. My heart goes out to her.
We can't really tell what motivates people in a moment, especially one of great fear, to act in the manner that they did. I don't think that in any way implicates this person. I mean, certainly we don't have any evidence of that. And who knows what had gone on at that place before, or what she thought may have been consensual activity.
Frozen shock phase.
Or maybe she was just way too afraid and was in denial. But I don't think any of this points to certainly her involvement.
In some situations, running from the scene isn't the best option and could be dangerous. When that's the case, find a safe place and hide.
All right. Well, I'm seeing a lot of your comments, and I know some of you don't agree, but I ask you to please be respectful with your disagreements. This is a plausible explanation, so I don't think it's funny. I don't think anything is funny about anything in this case, especially talking about the time period that these 4 students bled out and died. I don't think there's any LOLs that are necessary in that conversation. And that's just my opinion. So at any rate, let's walk through this again. And I want to tell you guys my key takeaways from this. I wasn't programmed like this. I wasn't programmed to hide. And if you paid attention to the video, and we're going to go through it again, because a lot of people don't, I don't know. We'll just go through it. Hold on. Let's go back to our other screen. Okay. So let's walk through this, because I think it's interesting, because I didn't even know they did these drills. This is all new to me. Like I said, my kids never had active shooter drills. They were already out of school. Maybe my daughter did, but it was towards the end of her school year. So she didn't have that from a very, real early age. But Dylan would have. Dylan would have probably never remembered life at school without a school shooter and a way to act in a crisis. And I want to say that this is something that Potato had brought up, and I was like, I started looking into this and watching these videos from these colleges. And it's not high schools. This is from colleges. This is what they teach. So when they had the active vandal alert back in September, when the group of kids were walking back to Greek Row and they were approached by someone and they had an altercation and the guy had a knife. There was a vandal alert that went out. And that is what Green is talking about. He's talking about the first vandal alert in September. And if you listen to him, he said there were students sheltering in place in the library, in some hall, and we didn't want them there all night. All night. So if they didn't lift that vandal alert, those kids would have been still in those places all night, is what I'm saying. Lupo, I understand what you're saying. The 8 hours is a long time, but if you listen to Green and he says those kids were in the library, I know this is a house, but if you're trained to do a certain thing in an emergency situation, that might be what you do. In Valby, that is a very, very dangerous view to take publicly, especially for creators. I am not going to insinuate anything. I don't know anything about their lives, and I don't know how you do either, because there's a gag order. They haven't spoke publicly, so I don't know how you know any more than I do. So I don't know where you're getting that there's this big conspiracy with these two young girls. So anyways, let's start walking through what this could all mean.
One big question that's come out of the University of Idaho student murders case is this gap in time that's missing from the moment a roommate saw the suspected killer to the moment 911 was actually called. Investigators now say a roommate on the first floor...
Now, one thing I noticed in this picture, and I don't know if it's doctored because I got all these pictures from Google Images, I'm not going to lie, but doesn't that look like Megan Marshall, the judge? Does that or does that not look like Megan Marshall holding a glass of wine? They're trained to get drunk? I don't even know what you're saying. I think you're drunk.
You buzzed? The house heard concerning noises after 4 a.m. and eventually heard crying. That's when she opened a bedroom door again to investigate. She told police she was in a frozen shock phase by what she saw. She says a masked man in black with bushy eyebrows was walking toward her in the house. That's when she said she went back into her bedroom and locked the door. But it wasn't...
Don't leave. Even if you don't hear any activity, you could be walking right into a danger zone.
Okay, so that right there. This is what they're taught. I didn't make this up. This isn't my training video. This is literally what they teach at colleges and high schools. Don't leave. Doesn't matter where the hell you're at, right? It doesn't matter if you're in a restaurant. If you can't run out, this is what they teach you. To run, number one, you run. Number two, you hide. And number three, you fight. And Pop Life, I don't know what you're finding so funny here. But like, hit it. I hate when people like think, I don't know, how can you laugh when we're talking about a quadruple murder of young adults? How can you put a LOL, like go away? But anyways, they teach them to run. And if they can't run, they hide and they stay there until authorities arrive. They are taught to leave everything behind. They are told to leave everything behind, and nothing is more important than you. They teach you to take care of you. They don't teach you to tend to anybody else. They teach you to take care of you. So they say, if you can't escape, then you hide. And if you can't hide, you fight. In Hot Ham Radio, they teach the same shit everywhere. It's Homeland Security. It's Homeland Security program. You can look it up. This is not something that is one university over the other. It is across the nation. So, at any rate, this is what they're taught to do. And if they're taught to grab something to defend themselves. 2 cents. If you saw what she could have seen, would you come out? I wouldn't. Alexia, I'm not going off of anything that any random anonymous callers call in. I have to stick with the facts. And we don't even know if Dylan, because she originally in the PCA went to sleep in that bedroom. Originally. We don't know what happened. So if you guys here know so much more about this case than we do, because you've seen as much as we have, except maybe you're watching rando bullshit lives that just want to get clicks and views. I don't know what to tell you, but we don't know anymore. So at any rate, you can think what you want and it's respected, but don't come here and LOL, because there's nothing LOL no matter what happened. And Jenny W, that is exactly the point. That's exactly the point. She couldn't have saved them, and she saved herself. So do you guys think that the sorority girls that survived Ted Bundy's attacks got this kind of treatment? No, because there wasn't YouTube with assholes. They were left alone probably for the most part, and their parents probably didn't do interviews. But there were girls that survived other knife attacks that hid. And I don't know if it was a Ted Bundy case or not, but one of them hid under a bed in one of these knife attacks. And for hours and hours and hours. I don't think it's that out of the ordinary for someone to hide. I don't know. I mean, it's just seems like kind of a plausible explanation if she's programmed to do this. And Jenny W gets the comment of the day because it's common sense. But everyone wants to make it more than it is. And until it is more, until we have proof of more, such as drug involvement, until there's proof of that, I think we have to be very careful, because once you put something out on the internet, you can't take it back. And this girl is going to have to live with this for the rest of her life. So if you feel okay about that, that's your conscience. But I personally do not feel okay knowing that this girl could have possibly lost 4 friends, seen shit that she'll never unsee, and she'll never be the same person again. So if there was drugs and all this and that and the other, okay, wait for it to come out. But right now, it's more plausible. Now, Peaky, I thought of the window too. We don't know exactly what happened there. We don't know when Brian went in. we don't know anything about it. But I will tell you this. I watched a little bit of the trial of Danny Rolling yesterday. And I know he's not Danny Rolling, but he seems to take a little bit from each, serial killer. Now, Danny Rolling actually took a roll of duct tape with him, and he duct taped the windows. He duct taped the windows. Hey, Tuesday. Nice to see you. So we don't know. We don't know. And let's keep going. We'll keep discussing. So run, hide, fight. Okay?
It wasn't until noon the next day, a full 8 hours later, that this roommate says she called friends over to the house to report a roommate was unconscious and not waking up. That's when 911 was called.
Don't leave.
If you can't get out safely, you need to find a place to hide.
Okay, so this is where BK would have walked through her room, obviously to the left of these stairs. He would have walked through this hallway towards the stairs, and from what the PCA says, turned right. Robin, I'm not sure if he duct taped him on the outside or on the inside. I'm not sure. Maybe on the outside. It was Richard Speck, Bell Aaron. Thank you. Yes, Richard Speck, the nurses. She hid for like so many hours. I can't remember how many hours either. I know she's, how old is Dylan? 19? 19. And all these people, like everyone on YouTube is like a grown adult and they're expecting this 19-year-old to do something they probably wouldn't even have the guts to do if it was them. Outside does make sense, and that's really scary. That trips me out. Tomorrow's live, you guys, is gonna be good. Oh, I can't wait for it. It's going to be another Idaho 4, and it's an interview with a FBI agent that I found, and it's really interesting. It seems like he's almost trying to mimic BK, and it was before he was arrested. So I feel like maybe that was put out for BK's benefit. It'll be really interesting. So that's going to be tomorrow.
Shocked faced by what she saw.
Act quickly and quietly. Try to secure your hiding place the best you can.
In some situations, running from the scene isn't the best option and could be dangerous. When that's the case, find a safe place and hide.
Initial alert, what was the conclusion you had at that point about the level of risk?
Well, of course, your first, on the first vandal alert, it was high risk. We had really no information, and we asked our students to shelter in place, and until we got the all clear, from
find a safe place and hide.
What the? Did you just get this?
Try to identify where the threat is taking place.
Frozen shock phase.
Turn out lights, and if possible, remember to lock doors. Silence your ringer and vibration mode on your cell phone. And if you can't find a safe room or closet, try to conceal yourself behind large objects that may protect you. Do your best to remain quiet and calm.
Well, wasn't it all clear, but a reduced risk where we could where students could start to move around more freely.
So I have a feeling that knife attack when the kids were walking on Paradise Path back to Greek Row from somewhere off campus, I believe that was BK, and I believe that it scared the shit out of them. Now you're thinking, this just randomly happened, on November 13th. You've got to think 2 months prior to that, they were possibly on Paradise Path confronted by BK. I don't know if it was them. I can't prove it was them. But putting 2 and 2 together, it could have been BK and them on Paradise Path. Even if it wasn't, let's say it wasn't. They still got the vandal alert of a knife attack right by their house, or a knife threat by their house. And they were told to shelter in place. I don't know where DM was when that shelter in place went out September 12th. But Green says that the kids that were sheltering in the library and other places on campus would have had to stay there all night if they didn't lift it and let them move about. And they also said about this vandal alert and this person that they turned themselves into police. Police? Who's going to turn themselves into police other than a kiss ass like Brian Koberger? We saw his kiss ass behavior with the Pullman cop. Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to know the law. Meanwhile, he's being an annoying asshole. Oh, so in that case, I just back up. We don't have crosswalks. All that bullshit. He's a kiss ass. Oh, I'm not trying to, argue. So I could see his ass saying it was a mistake. It was a misunderstanding. It was me. So they're not looking for him. So I have a feeling he went to them and said, hey, it was me. It was a misunderstanding. I thought this and da 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 da. So then this vandal alert goes out in September over a knife threat, whether it was the students that were murdered or not. They still got this vandal alert. They still knew that somebody was approached with a knife on Paradise Path, walking from off campus back to Greek Row. Okay, there's only so many houses on Greek Row. They all fucking know each other, it seems like. So it would be somebody they knew, obviously, if it wasn't them. So I would be a little scared. And then if we think about a stalking situation, which is what we're going to go into tomorrow. You guys, if you study the pictures of the students, the girls, especially Kaylee and Maddie, there's a lot of vehicles in the background. There's a lot of white vehicles. There's a lot of people that might look like BK in the background of their photos. J is for Justice. Article stated Speck in a townhouse for 5 hours with 8 deceased and the 9th hid under a bunk bed. See? I mean, what do you think she was going to do, guys? Do you think that she could fight someone that has a knife and a gun? What do you expect her to do, whether she's 19 or 21? What would you expect this girl to do? I don't understand.
Oh my God, there's someone out there with a gun.
A frozen shock phase.
So they're taught right here. All she had to do was see the gun, right? She sees a guy with a fucking knife. She's going to do the same thing, whether it's a knife or a gun. And she said that she saw someone with a knife. So what's the difference between a knife and a gun? She's seeing something that could kill her.
Oh my God, there's someone out there with a gun.
A frozen shock phase.
As quickly as possible, block entry points to the area where you're hiding. Lock or secure the doors as best you can. Make the room you're in appear to be unoccupied. Turn off the lights. Silence your phone. Then remain calm. Stay still and keep quiet. Remember to stay in your secure area until law enforcement arrives.
Hey, get down. We haven't got the all clear yet.
You hear that? He started to get up because they didn't hear shit. And then she's like, hey, get down. We haven't got the all clear yet. Dylan could have been waiting for the all clear. Right, but one made not. They gave us false information on a lot of things, and now we see it was on purpose because it was part of the investigation. So why would they say it's connected? See, that makes no sense. If BK went there and said, "Hey, it was me. My name's Brian Koberger. Yeah, I was just on this path. Like I'm a TA over at WSU. Like it was a total. I thought I was being threatened, and that's why I pulled out the knife. Well, now they know who he is. Now they know who he is. So do you really think on 11/16 they're going to get up at the press conference and go, "Yep, that guy that turned himself in, yeah, it's him. It's related to him." Why would they do that? Come on. I don't know. They're not going to say it was related if it was. They're going to tip off the perp while they're still gathering their evidence and they don't have enough to arrest yet. You think they're going to say, "Yep, that dude that turned himself in, yep, it's connected to this."
Arrives.
Hey, get down. We haven't got the all clear yet.
A full 8 hours later,
We call this sheltering in place.
We asked our students to shelter in place.
When you can't run and you can't hide, when you're left with no other options, only then do you fight.
And until we got the all clear, from, well, it wasn't an all clear, but a reduced risk where we could where students could start to move around more freely. We had people sheltering in places like the library and the Pittman Center and places around campus, and we didn't want to keep them there all night if we didn't have to. And so as soon as Moscow Police Department determined that it was safe for them to begin moving around but be vigilant, we sent the other vandal alerts.
Okay, so this is the vandal alert they're talking about that happened on Paradise Path. This is not the vandal alert of November 13th. There were students sheltering in the Pittman Center and at the library, and if they didn't lift the shelter in place, they would have been there all night. So you're shocked that she's locked herself in her room and didn't move? And if you're taught to be quiet, how the fuck do you call 911? What do you say? Furthermore, remember the police blotter. Do you remember all of the 911 problems that were going on with Whitcomb 911 at the time? If you go back to the police blotter, there's so many 911 hangups. There's a lot of 911 no connection. Someone, I feel like, could have messed with that system. Being technical. And I don't know if someone did this to help someone else unknowingly. I don't know. But I do feel like there was something wrong with the 911 service. And I'll make another video on that if you guys would like to see all of the calls from 911 that did not register, did not go through. There was someone going around at the same time, in the time between September and the murders, pretending to be a Ziply employee. Ziply is their Wi-Fi. Does 911 only work on Wi-Fi calling? Did they not have Wi-Fi? Did she have a phone that didn't have service and only use Wi-Fi? I don't know. Yeah, there was someone running around cutting cables. That's exactly what BTK did. He cut the phone lines before he went in. Well, guess what? It's not 1982 anymore. We don't have phone lines to cut off, but we do have Wi-Fi. And we're going to be going over that in tomorrow's video as well. They teach these kids to save themselves. They don't teach them to save anyone else. It's all for one, one for all. And this is what these kids are trained from. They're like little robots. We don't understand it because we didn't live through that. But trust me, These kids are like little robots when it comes to responding to an active shooter situation. And furthermore, let's talk about 911. Let's talk about the amount of body cam calls to that house that we've seen. I think BK was calling the cops on them for bogus reasons, so they'd be hesitant to call the cops. One of the calls, you hear the cops saying, hey, we're going to start calling landlords. In other words, we're going to get you kicked out, possibly, is maybe how they would have taken it. I mean, when poor Xana came to the door, she's like, I'm just here with my friends. Like, I'm not doing. They were getting bogus cop calls. In the middle of the day, they got a noise complaint. It wasn't even that loud. I'm telling you, someone wanted them to not feel comfortable calling the police. And if you're a college student, you already don't want to call police. And number two, if you've had a bunch of calls to your house and they're, borderline, you're feeling like you're being harassed and you think it's the cops that are harassing you, you don't know that this psychopath is maybe calling in these calls. You know what I mean? Like, someone could have been calling in, oh, I'm a neighbor and da-da-da, and giving a fake address on Walenta. Hey, these people are being fucking loud. In order to implicate and look at someone else, such as the abusive guy that went after his wife with a knife. It makes doubt. And this is what he planned. You've got to remember, he planned this. He thought about this. This is an obsession for people like him. They don't think about anything else. It's just like pedos. We talked about this before. Pedos, they think about all the ways they can get your kids in their grips. That's all they think about. They obsess on it. We think about it for a few minutes when we hear a story. We move on. They don't stop. They don't stop. Do you ever think that perhaps why they didn't call the cops because the cops are in on it? No. I think that BK wanted you to think that, Helen Kirby. I think that BK wanted you to think that the cops are involved because he hates cops. You know why? Because he couldn't be one. Because he's not good enough to be one, or he's got mental issues or something going on where he couldn't be a cop. He couldn't go in the military, so he hates them. So that's why there's fake photos of pain with dead animals split open. Because he wanted you to see that. That's why he's got these stats that he's pulling in from his defense team. Get me the stats. How many people have Googled Brett Payne? Then he knows what angle he needs to go with. That's why he's asking for more time for his alibi, because he's waiting for more stats to come in. And if I knew a way to get the masses to fuck up his stats, I would. Because he wants to know how many times Kaylee's Googled, Maddie's Googled, Xana, Ethan, Payne, and Fry. So he's trying to curtail it. I need more time for my alibi so I can see what way I want to go. This is all he planned and thought about. This is probably why he went to criminology school, was to learn how to kill and get away with it. It's not far-fetched. It's not far-fetched. The stats are lies. Mary P, they're fucking with him. I'm telling you, Brian Koberger has been searched more than all of those kids. I guarantee you, if they gave him specific, correct stats, he would be at the top. They don't want him to be at the top. This is why they don't want to say shooters' names in court anymore. They'll say it one time. If you watched the Nicholas Cruz trial, they say Nicholas Cruz once, and he says he's the shooter from here on out. Same goes with Ethan Crumbly. They don't want to give these fuckers attention. So they're giving him wrong stats. I'm telling you, Ann Taylor does not like this guy. I'm sure Ann Taylor is appalled by him. And I think that they're giving him the wrong stats because there's no way that Chief Fry and Payne have been searched more than Brian Koberger. He was rejected for being a cop. He was being disciplined over his conduct as an assistant teacher. Yeah, he was annoying. I'm telling you, he was annoying. And I guarantee you that a lot of his students in his classes have a lot of stories to tell other than the grading story. I bet you there's a lot more where that came from. And you know what? Let's say they had been followed and they knew they were being followed. And she kind of, like DM kind of knew what the guy looked like, but he had a mask on, so she couldn't tell. And she wasn't sure if it was him. Scared to death is how I would be. Yeah, you could, with the vision snow. Yeah, the vision snow. Or mental issues. It's just crazy. All right, let's keep going.
That Venmo alert, we had a group of students walking back to Greek Row from a location off campus. They encountered an individual who was not affiliated with the university. They got into, from my understanding, a verbal altercation. And
yeah, a verbal altercation. This is the vandal alert on 9/12/2022. At 8:05 p.m., the Moscow Police Department received a report that a group of students were walking between the steam plant parking lot, Lot 14, and the Student Rec Center on Paradise Path and were threatened by a person with a knife. No individual was harmed in this incident, but campus community members are advised to be cautious.
A verbal altercation, and he ended up flashing a knife at them.
The suspect is described as a white male, 18 to 22, wearing all black clothes and a black baseball cap. The male was on a nondescript mountain bike, had a blue backpack, and was last seen heading east on Paradise Path. The suspect has not been identified and is still at large. MPD is actively investigating.
It was not a stabbing. It was not a stabbing attack. It was a threat.
If you have any information regarding this incident, call Moscow Police. Keep all doors locked and use caution if you have to go outside. So this is when they let them move around.
To the best that we know.
So this is when they said, this is when they could go home. Like he was saying, they would have had to stay in the library or in Pittman Center all night. This is when they let them move about because they were the dude had probably gone to them and said, hey, it was me. It was just a misunderstanding. I'm a fucking TA over at WSU. I'm very kiss ass. I'm like Eddie Haskell. And, I thought they were threatening me. So I'm really sorry. Okay. Moscow Police Department is a stepping stone for a lot of these officers. They're new. A lot of them are new. They're young.
We sent out a vandal alert warning the individuals of our campus community at that time. I don't have the specific date, but it's out there from that aspect of it. And it's my understanding that individual then later turned himself into
who does that?
And they've addressed what that happens.
I'm just curious about the law. I don't mean to.
Oh no, yeah, I can find it for you. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with anything. I'm just curious about the law. He may have planned on getting caught. Maybe that's why he left the sheath. Maybe he wanted to get caught and he thought that he could beat the system because he implicated so many people in his little breadcrumbs. I'm sorry. I'm not disagreeing with you. Crete Burger.
I'm just curious about the law. I don't mean to.
Oh no, yeah, I can find it for you. Yeah.
So I can't answer the question of whether he's connected with this or not.
Oh, okay. See,
thank you again for coming. That's going to be all the questions we
that
take.
says it all to me right there. Okay, so they had Eccles. I think his name's Blake Eccles or something like that. Blaine Eccles or something. But anyways, he's the dean of students. So he's up there answering questions, and they ask him about this knife attack, and he's like, I can't say if they're related. He didn't say no, right? And then Fry's like, oh, fuck. So he comes up, and he's like, we're done. We're done. Is the knife attack related? And he's like, I don't know. So this is where the small town, they make mistakes, you guys. They're not perfect, Oh, by the way, I did request the knife attack report, and it is not up for release at the Mo. You have to wait.
Oh no, yeah, I can find it for you. Yeah.
So I can't answer the question of whether he's connected with this or not.
So we want to thank you again for coming. That's going to be all the questions we take at this time. We
It wasn't
appreciate
until noon the next day, a full 8 hours later, that this roommate says she called friends over to the house to report a roommate was unconscious and not waking up. That's when 911 was called. But Kaylee Gonzalez's father met this roommate and is certain she has nothing to do with it.
I think it's another victim of this crime. I mean, this is a girl that's wasn't prepared to see what she's seen. My heart goes out to her.
I have seen Steve talk somber a couple of times, and this is one of them, where he absolutely looks broken, and he says this is just another victim of the crime. You're gonna call her dad a liar too, guys? You're gonna say he's lying? Everybody's lying about DM because it's a big cover up. What about if they're just telling the truth? What about if we're not owed an explanation yet? What about if we'll find out in trial what happened during those 8 hours and we give the girl the benefit of the doubt? God forbid. God forbid.
Oh my God. God forbid.
God forbid someone gives someone the benefit of the doubt these days. I mean, we have grown women that are in their 40s and 50s attacking a 20-year-old whose friends were murdered. To me, that's sick. Like, that makes me feel sick. That makes me not even want to come on YouTube. If you have such a presumption of innocence for Brian Koberger, where's your fucking presumption of innocence for the young girls? That is sick. I love you, one maiden nut, but come on. Like, you're a little too pro-creep burger for me. I'm more pro-victim, and she's a victim, a survivor, until we know different. So stop. Stop. These are young kids. I mean, if you're going to have presumption of innocence for anyone, give this girl cut her a sprout. You got this creep ass dude who's, you know, for all intents and purposes, they have enough to hold him where he is. But damn, we don't know anything about her other than what people on YouTube have made up. People need to just stop.
What?
Wow yourself. It's rude. I have a daughter her age, and if my daughter's friends were murdered like that and y'all were talking about her like that, I'd be pissed and hurt for her. For her. Err on the side of caution. Jesus.
Oh my God. God forbid.
I mean, to go on and on about it. I mean, say it once. But to go on and on and on and put her picture everywhere with hands pointing at her face and this and that. It's wrong, man. It's wrong. I interviewed a sorority girl who lived next door to Georgianne Hawkins when Georgianne was kidnapped by Ted Bundy. And let me tell you, that woman wasn't even in the same sorority house, and she was scarred from it. She never was the same. Yeah, I mean, put yourself in their shoes. People don't do that anymore, though. They just fucking go live and they just don't care who they hurt. They don't care who they talk about. They're like, I don't know these people. It's not going to affect me, because they can't put themselves in their shoes. Cryptic, you don't know that. You know as much as we do. Okay, so let's listen to Steve Gonsalves lie to you guys about Dylan then. Here we go.
Nothing to do with it.
I think it's another victim of this crime. I mean, this is a girl that's wasn't prepared to see what she's seen. My heart goes out to to her.
We can't really tell what motivates people in a moment, especially one of great fear, to act in the manner that they did. I don't think that that in any way implicates this person. I mean, certainly we don't have any evidence of that. And who knows what had gone on at that place before, or what she thought may have been consensual activity.
Frozen shock face.
Okay. Did you hear what that woman said? No way, Watkins. Leslie, are you kidding me? I'm so sorry. Who was your friend, Leslie? Holy shit. One maiden nut, I don't know. It could be. I don't know. I haven't watched that in so long. Yeah, but okay, so Steve Gonsalves said no one could have been saved, and B, that she's another victim of this crime. So why are we doubting it? Why are we at the point where we're going to doubt it? And so this woman says, how do we know that something she heard wasn't something that was consensual? She was hitchhiking. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. That's awful.
We can't really tell what motivates people in a moment, especially one of great fear, to act in the manner that they did. I don't think that that in any way implicates this person. I mean, certainly we don't have any evidence of that. And who knows what had gone on at that place before, or what she thought may have been consensual activity.
Okay, so this is where I want you to pay attention. I have no idea why this kid has zip ties all over his wrist, but obviously they zip tie people to things or together. I don't know what the fuck they do. I don't know what it is. It's weird. People say it's a drinking game. I don't know. I never played a fucking drinking game with zip strips, okay? We used a quarter and a cup and we played quarter bounce. I have no idea what this is, but it sounds rowdy when you listen. When the cops are outside waiting, I kind of tweaked the audio so that you could hear in the house. And it sounds like someone like whips someone almost. So, check this out.
Frozen shock face.
Now, it might be a game, but listen to how fucking rowdy they are inside. Now, mind you, this is during the day or whatever, but it's loud and rowdy in there. So how do we know that she didn't think that it was just that? We don't know. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So I have no idea what all that hollering, but that shit sounds pretty aggressive. This guy yelling sounds aggressive. And I don't know if they're playing a game or what it is, but if I was used to hearing that in my house all the time, I don't think that I would be necessarily alarmed at first by noise. Yeah, I know, Mary P. Like, what the heck? So listen to it again. So I don't know how rowdy they got in there, but, you know, if you are in your room and you're used to hearing that kind of shit, you may not really know what was going on, you know?
Or what she thought may have been consensual activity.
Frozen shock face.
maybe she was just way too afraid and was in denial. But I don't think any of this points to certainly her involvement.
Okay, wait, let's go back here. Do you see what I see through the trees here? I spy with my little eye a white vehicle. A white vehicle. So I don't know, do these girls do hazings? I have no idea what the fuck they were doing. It's the beginning of the school year. They were just starting school. So I don't know if these girls do weird kind of shit. I don't know what they do. I don't know what Greek life consists of. I don't know what they do to one another. But I know that there's been hazing incidents where people died. So apparently it can get a little rough, right?
Or maybe she was just way too afraid and was in denial. But I don't think any of this points to certainly her involvement.
In some situations, running from the scene isn't the best option and could be dangerous. When that's the case, find a safe place and hide.
One big question that's come out of...
So I don't know. I mean, we don't know what happened exactly, but we need to at least look at plausible explanations for this. And Leslie, I totally understand that you wouldn't want to put the name out there again, but if you want to email me, that would be wonderful. Not that I want anything from you, but and you know, you want to see their bruised legs again, or you just want to see their legs? I'll show you. So I don't know if they do that, you know, with the girls or just the guys do it. I don't know. But here is Steve G again. And he, like I said, he looks broken. This guy says he met the roommate. He met Dylan.
Nothing to do with it.
I think it's another victim of this crime. I mean, this is a girl that's wasn't prepared to see what she's seen. My heart goes out to her.
We can't really tell what motivates people in a moment, especially one of great fear, to act in the manner that they did. I don't think that in any way implicates this person. I mean, certainly we don't have any evidence of that. And who knows what had gone on at that place before, or what she thought may have been consensual activity.
Frozen shock face.
Okay. I don't see bruises on the other girls, just the one on the left. That might be shadows on the other girls. I can't really tell, but I know that on the far left, that looks like bruises to me. Good morning, Flo. And I can't tell what the dude's saying in that video, but it sounds pretty aggressive. So like if you heard people yelling, you might think that it's just something that went on, you know what I'm saying? That's so sad, Leslie. Cryptic conversions. If you look at the police blotter, which I'll make a video on it for you guys. I'm going to give you guys a little sneak peek into tomorrow's live in Patreon when we're done with this. The whistling. Well, I think he's whistling because he's just tired of standing there. I think they had probably gotten a lot of calls to this house because I think BK was making, you know, bogus calls to them so they wouldn't feel comfortable calling the police. The dresses look bruised. Yeah, the dresses have marks on them. They look like the Flintstones outfits or something. Yeah, I mean, when you really take a step back, like everything came out at once for us, you guys, and we watched everything, but now we need to take a step back. And I'll give you guys a little sneak peek at the video for tomorrow. It's actually going to be really interesting, at least in my opinion. I think it will be. Let me get it pulled up for you, and I'll give you a little teaser, because I think it's going to be a great discussion as well. And I just think we have to be kind. Like, being kind is job number one, because enough people aren't kind these days. And giving the benefit of the doubt. We don't give people the benefit of the doubt anymore. I do. I get burned a lot because of it, but I won't change who I am. There's going to be assholes. There's going to be liars, but it's all in how you conduct yourself and carry on. So here's chat. I want to thank you guys for joining today. Please don't hesitate to give this video a like, because it's going to get me back in that algorithm. Trying to get up to 100,000 subs, guys. We're almost there. We're about 15,000 away. And I think we can do this. If we keep the engagement going, give a like, subscribe if you like what you see here. And I will see you guys in Patreon that are Patreon members. And if not, I'll see you guys tomorrow. So have a great day. Dance it out, guys.
Given the fallout. Given the fallout. Given the fallout.
I don't give a damn. I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn.
Because you're a liar.
Eddie, what have you done for me lately?
Wake up.
You wanna be with me. You wanna feel something real, but I'm feeling differently. You're making plans to get to friends, but don't wanna face the fact. I ain't got time for that.
Can't stop addicted to the shindig.
When you feel alone, but I'll never call you back. I ain't got time.
Bye, Jennifer.
Be sure to check out my other videos and playlists for more true crime content. And if that's not enough, you can join our Patreon. Don't have a tinfoil hat? It's okay. We'll make you one. It's that easy. See you guys in the next video.
See you later. Bye.